We are talking today about the Susan Smith case, and that is because tomorrow she could be granted parole. Now, this is a woman who was convicted of killing her two young children back in 1994. And Walker, today you got a very interesting opportunity to speak to the man who prosecuted her. And my first question is, does he want her to get out? Does he think time served has been enough?
He does not. I mean, he pushed for the death penalty when she was first going to trial.
Okay.
Obviously, the jury convicted her. He said that the jury, when he spoke to a jury member after the guilty verdict, they felt that if she got life in prison, that she would be maybe remorseful for this. But he says
to live with what she did and feel that in her heart every day.
Absolutely, and he says that he just doesn't believe that she has, based on some of the actions that have taken place the last couple of years with her.
Incredible. All right, so now we are going to get to hear a little bit from Tommy Pope. Check this out.
Susan Smith has been arrested and will be charged with 2 counts of murder in connection with the deaths of her children, Michael 3 and Alexander 14 months.
The Susan Smith case received national attention as Smith and her then husband, David, appeared on national news pleading for the boys' safe return.
But the Lord and myself both know the truth. I did not have anything to do with the abduction of my children.
The kids were found in her car, and her husband was not involved in the crime. Smith had been serving a life sentence at Leith Correctional Institution near Greenwood after being convicted in July of 1995. Representative Tommy Pope was the prosecutor.
You know, every case is tragic in its own measure, and, you know, obviously the lives of 2 children. I think it was amplified by the 9 days Susan Smith kept by, you know, asking for a return of the children, asking for people to find the African-American carjacker, and so it was difficult in that regard.
Pope doesn't believe she should be free.
She has been continually focused on Susan, not on Michael and Alex. I think Susan's remorseful. She's remorseful that she's in her circumstances, not remorseful for the pain she caused Michael and Alex, or equally importantly, David Smith and his family.
Now, again, per my conversation with Representative Pope, he does not believe that she will be granted parole.
And that's something that I didn't even know for as long as I followed this case, that Tommy Pope at the time, who was the prosecutor, wanted the death penalty.
Yeah, that's right. He did. It was, he said, you know, it was very difficult. There were 9 days she went on with leading people on, the community, the public.
With police searching, believing these 2 boys could be out there alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of different factors. All right, thank you so much, Walker. Of course, we're going to continue to follow this story and let you know what happens tomorrow. But earlier this year, Smith was a subject of an internal investigation at Leith and was found to have misused and abused the phone and tablet system that inmates have. And she spoke with a reporter who was doing a documentary on her and her life and her crimes. And according to that incident report, she had conversations and discussed things about this documentary. She was found guilty in an internal hearing. That was just back on October 3rd. And then she lost her telephone privileges and her canteen privileges for 90 days. Now, News 19, of course, is going to follow what happens in the courtroom tomorrow. And you can stay tuned to WLTX.com for the very latest.